Compass Mining is your trusted partner in Bitcoin mining. Whether you're investing in one machine or thousands, our customizable solutions are tailored to meet your needs. We are your experts in Bitcoin mining, offering a platform where individuals and businesses can purchase hardware, host machines, and access a range of ancillary Bitcoin mining services. We also specialize in large-scale site development and data center operations. Discover more at compassmining.io and see how we can power your success today. Hey miners, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, the official home of power mining analysis. Well, we're 2 days into the trading year and already seeing tremendous results in the Bitcoin mining sector. Anthony and I predicted 2025 to be the year of the miner. We predicted Q1 would really be a huge catalyst quarter for the sector, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Now, we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. Before we get into it, take a second, smash a like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to join and let us know in the comment section below if you managed to buy the recent dip in the mining sector, how you're feeling moving into Q1, and your outlook for the remainder of 2025. Now, with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay, Anthony, the first Friday trading session of the new year 2025, and what a doozy. We had widely expected Q1 to be a big quarter for the miners, but I don't think either one of us expected it would happen in the second day of trading. Absolutely incredible. We've got miners across the board up double-digit percentages. Bitcoin is now flirting once again with 98,000, and all is well again in the mining sector.
Yeah, no, a great day, great end to the week. Obviously, Bitcoin never sleeps. That'll carry on trading all the way through the weekend. But yeah, nice to see it happen. I mean, we've held the ground in the 90s. We're moving back up towards 100,000. Be nice to get to that 100,000 barrier. And then we've got about just over 2 weeks before we got a new president being inaugurated. So very positive over the next few weeks. I'm sure we'll see a lot more rise. Miners today, yeah, absolutely. They've picked up where they haven't been as correlated with Bitcoin price in recent days. Certainly today's been an uptick, and an uptick straight away out of the blocks today. So maybe some of the shorts have moved away a little bit. Today was an option closing day, so I know there was likelihood that Bitcoin was going to have a soft landing in comparison to previous times where there's a little bit more action. But yeah, it's good to see 98,000, a couple away from 100,000. Be nice to get over 100,000 next week, and that the miners go through there. But yeah, really good day.
Most definitely. On track to be one of the most successful trading days ever in my portfolio. You and I were definitely taking advantage of the sales over the Christmas break. So we just wanted to mention, for anyone new to the channel, we do have our Power Play segment. It airs every Friday. It's a members only video. We're going to be recording it right after this, but some very successful and large trades this week, Anthony, that we were able to take advantage of. Now, the other thing you mentioned there, we'll come on to this in more detail in a second. You talk about the new president. It looks like Michael Saylor's gone directly from his 100K party down to Mar-a-Lago, and he's now rubbing shoulders with Eric Trump and some of the other Bitcoin advocates down in Florida. So we're going to talk about that more, but extremely bullish for the sector, as you say. Now, the next segment here, Anthony, we want to move into the mid-morning market update. But interesting you bring up the correlation between Bitcoin price and miners, because Bitcoin, yes, it's having a good day. It's up over 98,000 US again, but in percentage terms, very minimal move. And we actually saw a record ETF outflow day over the Christmas break there as well. So despite some of the selling pressure on the ETFs, despite the fact that Bitcoin is really not moving a lot today, the miners exponentially outpacing, again, many of them above 12, 14, 15% by midday trading.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do option trading on Bitcoin, but if I was doing option trading on Bitcoin, I'd certainly be in a sort of a long at the moment. There's certainly this next few weeks, you've got to look at that. But the mining stocks today have done really well, and you can hear some of the stories. I mean, Digital's had some good news out this week, and their stock price is up over 16% today. That's a really good bump. We talked about them yesterday, actually. Market capitalization is 550, just over 550 million. If you look at what they've got in their treasury, and we're not talking about cash because they've got a significant cash balance as well, but if you just look at the crypto in terms of Ethereum and Bitcoin, that's close to 350 million together. So that gives you then, and I think I might be wrong, but I think they were, I think it might be close to 100 million in cash as well. So, when you look at the enterprise of that company, less the cryptocurrency, it's significantly low, and the market probably starting to realize that. But the good news this week from Bit Digital was the additional contracts that they've recently signed now for HPC. So that revenue is going to start increasing. We saw it reach well over 50 million annualized revenue in 2024, and their plan is to get to 100 million quickly. And with the contracts they've signed, it looks like they're going to achieve that very early in 2025. Riot also having a fantastic day, along with TeraWulf, both over 14%. Marathon's released its numbers today, and we'll talk about them in a little bit time, and they're over 12%, and CleanSpark and CIFR, close to 11% up there. So it's a green day across the board for all the mining stocks at the moment. But we know in this space things can change very quickly, even during a trading day.
Even during a podcast, I was going to say by the time we release this, they'll all be in the red and we'll be getting hate. But in all seriousness, I'd love to hear from some of the bears that have put in comments over the last few weeks about how bad the miners are, how bad this investment is. Did you guys actually sell out, or were you just a little bit upset with the time there? And what do you think about the miners at this point in time? Do you think the sentiment has changed? We put out a very strong podcast yesterday, Anthony, essentially saying 2025 is the year of the miners. We backed it up with a number of stats and historical graphics. Specifically, we said Q1, and MetaMan picked up on that on X. So we just wanted to throw this tweet in, as it seems yesterday's message about this optimum setup for 2025 really resonated well with a lot of our subscriber base. Now, Anthony, you talk about some of the big movers here, the double-digit percentages. Are there any other standouts on the board that specifically catch your eye?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about obviously Core Scientific and their focus, on growing that HPC contract there, and their share price tends to do well when the Bitcoin price isn't rallying, because they've got this predictable revenue starting very early in 2025. So next year, or this year, sorry, we'll start seeing that HPC revenue with their contract with CoreWeave coming through their books. And believe you me, that will change things. They're up today 7%, which is a good rise for Core Scientific. It's not normally in the last few months been one of the top performers on a day, but on a bad day, it's usually the best performing stock. So nice to see that also well in the green today. Bitfarms again has had a bit of a challenging period the last 3-4 months there. They've not reached that target of 21 exahash. They finally got to the mid-year target in November, but they're getting a little bit of love from the market today, so they're up over 5%. And one other thing I just want to say is if you look at the volumes today, they're not as high as they have been in some of the recent trading days at this point in time. I know it's still early in the market day there, but if you look at some of the volumes, we've seen some of the volumes significantly higher than this, even at this part of the day.
Compass Mining makes Bitcoin mining accessible to everyone. Start mining in as little as 48 hours with our turnkey hardware, online and mining directly to your Bitcoin wallet within 2 business days. Find out more at compassmining.io and get started now. We certainly have. It's going to be interesting to see how the remainder of the day plays out. As you said, Friday option expiration day, and then we have a big expiration on Friday, January 17th, with all of the yearly option expirations on that date as well. Now, I mentioned a couple minutes ago that we had Michael Saylor down in Mar-a-Lago rubbing shoulders with members of the Trump family. I wanted to switch gears and talk about a few of these bullish catalysts that you mentioned in the intro, really emerging over the next 20 days. So one of them, obviously, is the incoming Trump administration. We've been hearing a number of rumors about this strategic Bitcoin reserve, the amount, the volume, the speed at which they're going to acquire these Bitcoin. It's also an interesting discussion, Anthony, talking about the Trump family personal exposure to Bitcoin. So both Donald Trump and his son Eric were at the Nashville conference. These are both big advocates of Bitcoin. And remember, this is a billionaire family that was built on financial investment. So in my personal opinion, I think they really have been orange pilled, not only for the benefit of the country, but perhaps for the benefit of themselves as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They've been really hyping up the Bitcoin for this last 6 months, and we managed to see them at the conference back in Nashville this year. Sensor Loomis is also going to the conference in Las Vegas, and we'll be there at that conference too. So we'll get to see her speak again. She gave a very good speech straight after the president, and she basically brought up about the strategic Bitcoin reserve at that Nashville, which was the first time we'd heard about that. So that was really positive news.
It certainly was. Yeah, great to see all of these politicians convening in Nashville. Obviously, it's going to be in Las Vegas this summer. We're already booked in, Anthony, along with Mining Disrupt in Fort Lauderdale and our most recent trip to New York, which is scheduled at the end of February for the Bitcoin Investor Week. So looking forward to all of those events. Now, interesting, another piece of news that we got overnight here, 16-year anniversary of Bitcoin itself. So I've been doing some research into the white paper, learning more about the Bitcoin structure and technology. But very interesting, Anthony, they actually took a headline from a paper on your side of the pond, the Times, and stamped that in the Genesis block, essentially as proof of what was on the front page of the newspaper on that date.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've had some issues in the UK with banks and people hedging against the performance of the Bank of England. So yeah, an interesting period over the last sort of 20, 30 years. But this isn't just about the UK as well. I mean, there's banks all around the world and the financial industry around the world, and trying to cope with inflation. So this is just one of the things. But it was interesting on that particular day, as 16 years ago, as the first block was written, that was actually put onto the block. That's really good, interesting news. Yeah.
It just astonishes me the genius that this Satoshi character had, the foresight. Even we talk about the quantum computing evolution and his foresight into that sector. So I'm really enjoying learning more and more about, again, the history and the coming of Bitcoin. However, at the end of the day, as we continue to say on the channel, Anthony, there is no Bitcoin or Bitcoin network without the miners. And with that, we want to transition back into some miner related news. So Marathon now coming out with their production report for the month of December. They also put their full year numbers in there. Marathon's one we've covered over the year, Anthony. We both invest in this company, but really the tail of the tape for me was inconsistency. We saw last December they had a phenomenal month. They had one or two big months during 2024. However, it's a yo-yo with this company, and we never know if it's going to be a good or bad production month. With that being said, it looks like consistency is on the menu moving into 2025.
Yeah, so we had a good update in November. It looks like we've got another good update in December, and they smashed through the 50 barrier. They announced that during December that they'd reached 50 exahash, and by the end of the year, it's 53.2. So bear in mind they were a little over 24 exahash back in January. That's close to 29, 30 exahash increase. So in terms of hash rate increase, that's the largest increase from any mining company, but it's not the largest percentage increase. That will go down to IREN, as they went from something like 5.6 up all the way up to 31. So a significant rise for them. And CleanSpark, again, similarly went from 10.08 exahash, if I remember rightly, all the way up to 37 and a half, and we still haven't got their December numbers in yet, so that might increase from there. But this was a good update today. 249 blocks won, which is the second most blocks in a month on record. And those 249 blocks won provided 890 Bitcoin. So, really, 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 really good month. If you think about where the Bitcoin price is, that's like probably hedging towards $85 million of revenues just for the month of December, which is astonishing. Now, they've been making purchases of Bitcoin. They utilized, I think, 1.8 billion in convertible notes. So they've been buying Bitcoin at certain days, trying to keep pace with their MicroStrategy in terms of keeping this sort of like 10% of what MicroStrategy have got there. And their hodl now has increased to literally just a fraction under 45,000 Bitcoin. So 44,893 Bitcoin. That's valued at 4.2 billion. They also tell us, which is interesting, that they've actually loaned some Bitcoin out. So they've loaned 7,377 Bitcoin, and that's generating an additional return. So I suppose, in the same way that Bit Digital stake their Ethereum, Marathon are doing something with their Bitcoin that gives them an additional return there, and that's a considerable amount of funding there. If you think about the price of Bitcoin at 98,000 and 7,000 of them, it's a big number.
And just another angle on that one, Anthony, we got a tweet out from Robert Samuels from Marathon talking about this Bitcoin lending program. So essentially it's going to focus on short-term lending arrangements. They're established third parties, so hopefully limiting that counterparty risk. Looking to generate a modest single-digit income throughout 2024. So exactly as you say, very similar to some of the Ethereum staking or the flywheel we've seen from Bit Digital, but with a Bitcoin twist.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the market likes it when the miners come in and are able to utilize their treasury to deliver more funding. I mean, we've seen this happen all the way through last year or so with Bit Digital and their Ethereum staking. It's proven to be a really good income driver, considering not having to do anything for it other than stake it. And they've been getting close to $100,000 every month for doing that. So that probably helps towards their paying their payroll bill for the month. So no, it's a great thing. It's just another business model that these miners are looking into delivering. And when you've got a sizable treasury like Marathon, I mean, their hodl now is well over 4.5 billion at today's prices. So, that's enormous. And who knows? I mean, if we get it close to the HC Wainwright forecast of 225 million $225,000 per Bitcoin by the end of 2025, just think what that hodl will be worth then, probably close to $10 billion alone.
Absolutely phenomenal. And we've heard from Michael Saylor, the ultimate goal with MicroStrategy is to establish some sort of a Bitcoin bank or Bitcoin lending facility. So interesting to see Marathon going that route, especially after we just talked about the synthetic hodls from Bitfarms yesterday. A lot of this financial engineering, so to speak, in the Bitcoin mining sector. So with that being said, Anthony, we've got about a week remaining to make your picks in Miner Madness 2.0. You can do that on one of the two designated YouTube videos or on the pinned tweet on our Power Mining Analysis X account or Twitter account. It's a phenomenal day for the markets, for the miners. We're off to film our Power Play segment next up. You guys let us know in the comment section below how you're feeling. Did you manage to average down on these positions, take advantage of the sales, and what's your outlook on Q1? Thanks for watching. We'll see you here tomorrow.